All right, hello, Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan. Jack Bowers here. Bracken Crocker is here. Today, we're going to talk about a mixture of things. We had some international DEKAFIT events going on. We have Spartan Race Pan American Championships this weekend. We were going to draft, but Jack, we're not drafting, are we?
No, we're not drafting, unfortunately. There are just too many names. Basically, it comes down to that there are not enough US and Canadian names heading down there. So I think it'll just kind of be a crapshoot of guessing, oh, I've heard of this person. I saw them one time at a race, and I don't think it would make for great content. So kind of just we'll discuss it, and then we'll go into a deeper dive after the race, see what happened down there.
When the master of foreign athletes doesn't want to draft the foreign draft, you know the pickings are slim.
Right?
I'm fine doing it. I don't think it would be good content. So that's why
It'd be like a whole lot of
it.
Be like every we'd have to say the 4 or 5 names that we'd mispronounce for one pick every single time.
Yeah.
That's tough.
How many men from the United States of America and Canada are heading down for this race?
I heard back from VJ, Ethan Brown, definitely going to be there. Rylan wants to, but he's dealing kind of with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Atkins and Lindsey Webster want to, but a lot of people confused Mexico Pan Am versus Mexico in October, and they waited until the last second to buy flights. And guess what? It's not easy to do that internationally with a week's notice or so. So they're likely not going to end up going, even though they want to. So yeah, you got about half a dozen.
What city is
half
this
a
in?
dozen? That was 2 yeses and 2 maybes.
Oh, I thought you said who were considering it. Yeah. So two absolute yeses and 3 to 4 maybes.
And how many women?
Lindsay,
maybe?
and Alex Solomon. She's going to be there.
Solomon.
So that's Alexander Solomon. So that's that's the confirmed U.S. woman.
So for the Pan American Games, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is Central America and North America, we have a total of 6 yes/maybes from the United States and Canada. So this is the Mexican National Series Championship.
Pretty much, yeah.
When I raced the Middle East Championship in Dubai, there were more Americans there.
You've seen
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we think? Like, is it just a confusion of what the season is? And also, we touched on it for a second last week about the qualification system and how even us sitting talking here, like I was kind of in the dark and still a little confused until you spoke about it last week, and I got
further clarification after that.
Hit us with what the qualifications are, Jack.
So you do need 4 points to race in the Pan American Championship this weekend. So if you don't have it by now, too bad. That you get 3 points by doing a 3K series race. You get 1 point for a regular local race. However, it dates back to the previous regional championship. So
we got a high rock situation.
So okay,
I missed that part. So if you ran in Kelowna last year, that doesn't count. But every race after Kelowna since mid-August last year does count.
They all count as one, or does like
Abu Dhabi your standard? Like if you ran Blue Mountain or Abu Dhabi, you're going to get 3 or 5 points for that. So basically, if you treat it the same as you would have a 3K or a local race since then. It just backdates to August 2022. So I missed that part, but still, that's pretty surprising. I think there was one national, because it was Kelowna, and then there was a couple month break for Blue Mountain in Canada for the final stop of the national series, and then there was Abu Dhabi. So you really only had
trifecta.
Yeah, I was going to say
you went to trifecta. You're qualified for the next decade.
You're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that pretty much every other race besides those was 1 point since then. But almost everybody has 4 points if you were considering doing this. I just think it's you went there once and you don't want to do it again type of situation is what it seems like.
But this was not in Zendesk, so no one knew about it.
It was. You had to click a
backdating?
different link. It wasn't in one spot, which is the confusing part.
The spot where it says qualification for regional world championships.
Exactly.
Because BK, you looked into this. This is something.
Yeah, I read the whole document.
Yeah.
And still kind of came out.
So, all due respect to the Mexican athletes, we have never seen such a poor turnout to a regional championship and a watered down field ever in the history of Spartan Race. Aside from when they did the sprint and super national championships in 2013 or 14.
You're talking the Illinois thing?
Illinois and Pac Northwest at Washougal. Those are the only two times they put the word championship on anything that had less North American representation. Because technically Mexico is North America.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, don't say North America. I would say US and Canada, because that's primary. You see a handful, maybe 3 to 5 athletes from Mexico come up, and they do well. Definitely. Angel's had some success. Chikorita in the past has as well. Ciro, Eugenio, when they're in Mexico, they've done well. Yeah, exactly. You do see people come up here, but in terms of sustained success on podiums, it's kind of few and far between.
So if you had to rank the top 2 powerhouse nations of OCR, what would they be? I'll give you 3, top 3.
Oh, I was going to say it's got to be US and Canada there, but you've got an argument for anywhere in Europe, realistically.
Okay, so if you choose any of the wares in Europe, what are the odds that they don't send anyone to their European championship?
Low.
So we have the arguably the top 1 nation in the world not represented outside of maybe 2 athletes at their own regional championship, which at what point is it no longer considered a regional championship?
Well, Bracken, let me add this. Remember European Championship about a month ago? It was on the same exact day as the European OCR Championship. So this is the second regional championship that you're diluting the field.
Yeah.
Like,
it's, as a fan of the sport, it's very disappointing to not get to watch the best people at a championship, or the second best people, or the 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th.
Last year when it went to Mexico, it was like, oh my God, are you serious? These guys, you had 7 in the top 12 or whatever from Mexico.
That was crazy.
It was great to see.
You're going to see that again.
You won't see it because you don't have the athlete comparatives who are going to be there, because that's what you want. You want to know, how good is Eugenio? How good is Ciro? We saw Ciro once last year, and we saw him again in the 3K this year, and he finished like in the teens, in the barely making the finals this past time in Palmerton. But you put him back on a flat concrete course in Mexico where he's used to it and doesn't have travel time. Suddenly he's hanging with anybody, and like that's the kind of stuff that we want to see. We want the battles. It's not the names. We just want the battles, and you need the names to be there to make those battles.
There was some confusion from athletes, and you alluded to it, about which Mexico race was series, because early on they had announced the series race, and then they removed that location and announced the regional location, and now there's no location. Have they confirmed a location yet for the final stop of the series in Mexico?
Yeah, it started with a Q. It was like Querétaro or something, I forget.
But they doubled down on their strategy of putting their championship before the regular season ends.
Last year.
Right. And then you add in the international travel and the confusing nature of Zendesk.
Less payout.
Less payout. That it didn't lead a lot of people to stay totally connected like you, like reaching out. Like Matt Davis just posted about how much he had to reach out to get information, and you had to have people contact you afterwards and explain that our world and regional championship documentation qualification system is not the page to look at to figure out how to qualify for said regional championship. So it's hard to get the information when it shouldn't be, and as a result, we don't have anyone there.
Here we are with nobody to draft.
Because West Virginia was a spectacle always.
Yeah.
And then Tahoe was a reduction in field, but still a pretty phenomenal performance from the top several people in a compelling race. And then Kelowna was awesome.
I felt exciting. I felt like there was a real build up for that, like what the race venue was going to be, who was all coming out to it. That I remember I remember being very excited for Kelowna.
Yeah.
The most exciting thing about this is that somebody's going to win more money than they've ever won in their life.
Well, if
anyone.
If you're listening to this,
second place is going to win more money than
2,500 second, 5,000 for first. Like, if you're listening to this and you have a spot and you're from the US and you've just heard who's going to be there, especially if you're on the female side.
If
Like,
I'm a
no
woman,
Lindsay, no Nicole, no Chris,
I'm
no
going.
Alex. Get a flight.
Yeah,
Go.
who could that be? Like Annie Doobie? Like
Yeah.
why wouldn't Alex Walker go?
Emma, go make some money.
Alex got third last year, and they also have a beast the next day that you can win.
This is Mexico City. Is that where this is?
40 minutes from the airport.
Got it. I wonder if it, and I don't, from what I understand of the travel in Mexico last year, like, and Bracken, you talked about your travel in Mexico. It's not like the most enjoyable experience, right? Like in and out of the airport, getting a car, doing the whole deal.
Yeah, the country's fantastic. The logistics of travel can be a little bit of a headache to a nightmare, depending. I think Rylan had nightmare travel. I think, did Annie have nightmare?
The road.
Well, I think Rylan was just trying to go see a volcano or something, right? And then just like decided
literally slept in a ditch.
Yeah, and then he went out and got, I don't know, what did he get, like 5th or 6th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, logistics are difficult, especially with the language barrier, which everyone has to deal with coming here as well. It's not ideal traveling, but we have a lot more transportation options than down there.
I think you do see that athletes, and it's been the case since basically the beginning of OCR, people are willing to travel if there's a reason to go there. But I don't think that it was as well advertised that here's the event to be at. And if you're like an age grouper or an open heater who they're the ones who are paying the bills realistically, you're not going to get people from the US to travel as an age grouper if there's no series associated with it. For instance, I know that they kind of stuck with just the US National Series for age group. They have a separate Mexican National Series. They've already had 2 events that are age group only as well. So I don't think you're going to have much cross the border like travel for the non 45 potential elites for the 3K race, but people are willing to travel. I just think that it was poorly marketed for this is the race to be at.
Part of me feels like it's our job or our responsibility to drum up some excitement for this. But like, where does that lead to? Because there's nowhere to watch it.
They're not streaming it.
I think Jason's going down there.
Jason is.
Yeah.
Who's on the mic?
I'm going to be on a flight, so I can't help out on Friday.
Unavailable.
This is news to me. We were told all year there wasn't any of Spartan's words where we have no plans to provide coverage for this.
And he could just be out there helping directly with Mexico, like doing that. He just said he will be down there, so I don't know the details.
So there's a chance, but it's just like if we give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe there's a stream, maybe there's not. Who are you tuning in to watch? The international athletes are not our audience here. Like we're there. It's just it's a very strange situation to be in, to host this new Pan Am Games that's just the Mexican National Championship.
Is it anything intentional behind this, you think? Like what is it, or is it just that they picked a date to put some race and like, this will be the Pan American Games as well? Like, how are we kind of seeing this from the way that Spartan is organizing this season?
So I did talk with an athlete from Mexico, and he told me that it's either the 200th or the 150th anniversary of whatever this military compound is, like this weekend. So I think that and obviously OCR and the military, they go hand in hand and historically. And I think that there's like some significance to the people down there that it's this weekend, kind of like Abu Dhabi 50th anniversary for Spartan World, or of the country right around Spartan Worlds. I don't think that they're gonna have the fireworks show keeping people from sleeping this time, but I think that but there is some significance to having it this weekend, I believe, down there. But
in terms of intentional planning from sports side of Spartan, I don't think we can use the word intentional for anything we've seen in the past 3 years in terms of planning for the sport. I really don't believe that. And I kind of been just over the part of, I don't want to speak negatively about it. I'm not looking to bring them down either. I think it's just at this point, call me, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, show me the same thing. Eventually I just have to believe you. I'm finally just going to believe you that you're not trying to grow the sport.
You were only positive last week. So
yeah,
We're just balance. Life's about balance, Bracken.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that highlights the dichotomy right now between the two brands, where High Rock sat down and said, let's try to fix this problem. And Spartan said, allow me to present you with a problem. And that's the different, like there's a totally different approach to the two companies. And Spartan doesn't need to be a sport.
Right.
They really don't need to be. They're a company. They've struggled because of COVID and poor business decisions, and they need to be a company first. And so I will never, ever, ever fault them for that. What I will fault them for is claiming to be a sport and not trying to be a sport. The world obstacle, the Olympics, the like slapping a title, PANAM games, and like, stop teasing us. Just say we're not a sport or be a sport.
Because it seems like this is a regression, right? Like
it can't not be, right?
Right. Over the course of, I mean, what would you say the pinnacle of sport was for Spartan? What was the apex year?
Any Tahoe championship year, I would say. I would say 15 through 18 was probably the pick a spot in terms of that. I think the NBC coverage was the pinnacle of getting new eyes on the sport, which slightly predated that. It overlapped a little bit, but somewhere between 14 and 17 or 18 was the pinnacle of United States Spartan sport.
I'd say probably 17 or 18. Hunter was still around in 17. Hobie and Cody as well. Alvin came over a little bit. Like in the US, that was kind of the moment. I feel as though Europe, they're kind of having their moment right around now in terms of like depth of the sport and just other options and where they are on the world scene. But yeah, if we're looking at it from the US, I'd agree with that rough timeline, Bracken.
And Asia is apparently having this rapid fire growth right now.
Yeah. That's the thing. We're looking at it through the US's eyes. Like the people down in Mexico are pumped for this race. I've had so many people message me in Spanish or using like a Spanish to English translator because you can tell the grammar is not good, which is what I do. I reverse it for speaking to them, but they're pumped. They're very excited, especially having the beast the next day as part of the weekend. You're going to see big participation, but it's just we're not going to know who they are as US fans. So that's the letdown.
Well, that's the big issue, right? Every country has their people that they know about that we don't. The same way that we have people that are like Kempson. We all knew he was coming and then he burst onto the scene. And the backdrop for the race proved how good he was. The caliber of the athletes he competed against put into perspective how good he was. When VJ went on his tear, we understood who he was beating. Now, Mexico gets the chance to show all their up-and-coming athletes, show the world how good they are. But like, luckily we have VJ there. But outside of that, it's what's the backdrop? How do we frame this? And will there even be an opportunity to show it? Every single North American championship we've had has been televised in some capacity. If we don't have that, now the Mexican athletes are sitting there like, did anyone hear what I said? Did anyone see what I did? This is my moment, and it's just gonna fall flat most likely. And that's unfortunate for their growth of sport too.
Does the sport as a whole, how much does the US market, US Canada market like hinge? Like how much does the success of the sport hinge on the US and Canada market?
Way more in the US than Canada. Like we've got 5 times as many events for Spartan race, and we have
in terms of sport though, like
sport. Oh yeah. I mean, you've got the big names there that whenever they show up, even if you're ignoring Lindsay and Ryan and Emma, like the next pack with Austin and Samuel A. Bear, you've got plenty of people who come down and take care of business when they race. So yeah, you need Canada there for sure.
But does the world need us? Can this sport be fine without this group of athletes?
Yes, it can be, because soccer proves it. Football proves it. That the world can be, and F1 proves it for Dave Watson. If you're listening, F1 proves it. You can have a worldwide phenomenon without the US. However, nothing makes a sport passionate to other countries' fan base like having the US good at the sport. There's a reason that like the Olympic basketball sells out first is because everyone wants to come watch them play against the US. And I think that same thing happens on the international stage with US athletes. European athletes cannot wait to compete against the United States athletes. And when the championship is over there, they can't wait to have it on their ground. It adds something to it. So you don't need the US to be successful, but it's such a compelling storyline always that it should be there.
Jack, thoughts?
Yeah. I think the soccer comparison's good. Like the Women's World Cup's going on right now, and I think the U.S. women's national team, they've gone something like 16 or 20 games in a row without losing, and they're clearly the best, but everyone wants to end up beating them. They almost lost. They tied their opener in the World Cup, but then you have the other side of the story where it's the men's team who they're never better than like 8th at the World Cup in their entire history. So it's very interesting. Like you need them there to have the eyes on them, at least from a Western perspective. Doesn't mean we're necessarily the best, but I feel like having a large US presence at least gets more attention, and that inevitably would help grow the sport.
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Sure doesn't hurt.
It's interesting with like High Rocks, if you look at it, because that started recently. It's in our domain for a sport, and it was based out of Europe. Yet we're trying to be like, look at us, we belong. Like you're screwing us. We have so many good athletes. Give us a chance. We're making all these arguments, and yet it seems more Europe favored, like who they're letting in. They're letting of the top 15 automatic qualifiers for the first Chicago event. Most of them are from Europe, and we're like, this isn't fair. And like we're kind of seeing it from the Mexico perspective. It's like if only there were more of us, to prove how good we are. If we got that chance, you'd see it. Like I don't know. I see a lot of comparisons between the two.
Mm-hmm. And I'd argue that U.S. presence in the sport is part of what's made the sport so excellent. Is having Lauren dominate for a while, having Meg do great, having Hunter be the lightning rod that he is. Even though our presence is a smaller percentage, I think it's a necessary percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great story when U.S. athletes don't get in and we all get pissed about it and talk about it because it's eyes on sport.
I'm glad you think that. I'm glad you enjoy that part.
I didn't say I enjoy it. I think it's great for the
Rich
sport.
is like death stare.
I booked Spain. I'm going.
You're about to show them.
Or
they can't prevent you.
Or what happens if you run 60 minutes? What happens?
I mean, the way I look at it, like it's not a guarantee, right? Like they got lucky. It's not lucky. Like it seems that the Barcelona course and what was it Madrid was also pretty fast, or not Madrid. That's where I'm going. What's another one in Spain? Name some Spanish cities for me.
Mallorca?
No, whatever. They
Barcelona.
Anyway, it might not be fast, but I need to get a race in before Chicago internationally, no matter what. So I might as well take my chance on the place where most of the races seem like they are favorable in terms of courses. If it's not, and I run 60, that sucks. and I went after it for what I needed to do, and it just doesn't work out. And then I'm not going to race any more races. We're not going to do any more podcasts, and I'm just going to like back into the bushes.
You're just going to like walk into the Atlantic Ocean, and if you make it back to North America, you're good.
Yeah,
might not happen.
I'll take on ultra endurance swimming after that.
Yeah,
and see how it goes.
What are the chances you would walk away from High Rocks?
If it doesn't go well, that race. No, I got this. I'm going to do this year at least.
Okay.
And then I might have to be like, maybe.
What's waiting in the wings then? What would you go after?
It's Conor McGregor thing, right?
three KO.
Yeah.
BK, did you see that? Did you look at this at all? Not at all.
Everyone's got a hybrid thing they're doing now. I can't keep up.
No, there's a competition. It's not.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. Well, not. You're an MMA guy. Are you not a McGregor guy?
He lost me about 3 years ago. I really liked his rise. I liked a lot of what he was doing. And the moment he was the classic, couldn't handle being rich and famous. He lost me. I wouldn't even consider him an MMA guy anymore.
He's a hybrid guy, just like everybody else. But that
He's
event looks
liquor salesman and influencer.
I heard that whiskey is not good, but Irish whiskey's
got his Billy off it.
Irish whiskey's a little tough in the first place, but we'll see. We'll get some this weekend.
That's what it's going to be, a proper number 12 weekend.
Let's do it. Jack's a good Irishman. He'll join us with some.
Oh yeah.
Have some Killian's Red. How about that?
Times. Yeah, we'll get something nice for you. Something nice and peaty, or maybe some Scotch. Like, you Scottish, Jack?
Nah.
Irish?
Kenyan.
I don't know. I don't know what they're drinking there.
Yeah. Got a quick pull back to the Spartan 3K in Mexico. Bracken, you do a lot of the coverage with Savage Race, and in general, whenever you don't see Chris or Alex there, the women's field is a little bit weaker. You don't know necessarily who's going to win. Like, I know you have Jamie and Chrissy and some of them, but they typically win when Alex and Chris aren't there, realistically. If we're looking at the women's field, you have a few solid athletes from Mexico for sure. Berenice and Eloisa, they're going to do really well, but you don't
IZZ.
Is she there?
Yeah, she's going to be there also. Yep.
It's my pick.
IZZ. Yep.
And Bernice, is it, how'd you pronounce it? Barrera, you're saying?
Berenice.
Berenice.
Yeah.
All right, Jack.
Exactly.
Relax, dude.
Relax. Be nice. Is that right? No. But how do you typically go about covering a race like that when there isn't like a runaway stud to win it?
You better hope you know their faces and their names.
Just make some stuff up. What do you mean? Right. Jack, it sounds like Jack has been asked, and he's been holding it close to his chest. Now he's trying to get intel.
Sorry, the feed's breaking up.
Yeah.
Got 90 more minutes of this. Oh
Yeah.
man, I'm getting nothing, guys. I'm flying blind.
Yeah. I think Rich actually needs this info in case he ever gets asked to do coverage, but probably won't.
I'm locked and loaded. Whenever they're ready.
He's always busy.
When he runs 61, he'll be all in the booth.
Yeah. That's when I will be available. Give the guys a note.
Here's the degradation of an athlete. First, you enter the booth, then you start dabbling in doubles, then you start bombing out in prelims, and then you just stay in the booth. That's it. That's what you do.
I mean, I'm into the doubles. I'm on the microphone. It's only one step away, BK. You're my compass.
You gotta start bombing.
Wait till Spain.
And then you're already testy online. You're good.
My last High Rocks, that was pretty epic. That was an epic bomb out for sure. So we'll see. You guys want to talk about DEKAFIT?
Sure.
When I say Deka, you say fit. We had some international DEKAFIT. We had Spain versus the world, or Spain versus Europe, I think that they were calling it, right?
Yeah. Which is weird because Spain is in Europe, but
it is. The Spanish market apparently is one of the better. I don't have the numbers, right? And I was trying to get some of these numbers on for what it looked like in DEKA in Spain, but apparently the Spanish market is the second biggest market for High Rocks. So something's going on there. They're down with this hybrid fitness racing over in Spain, and they showed up, and there were some pretty good High Rocks athletes there. And Spain swept it. 1, 2, 3. Alphonse de Ruiz. He's the truth.
Your buddy.
He's that like, what if we're the same? What if I am the American Alphonse? Huh?
Are you gonna let him Toby you? I'll kick you right at the end on the wall balls.
But like
he's just throwing bullets at Kent here.
Yeah,
Kent's catching strays.
Catching strays, not even here. Man, it's tough. But Alphonse, our High Rocks times are about the same. He's clearly the best international DEKAFIT athlete. And he was 32.14. Well, I'm gonna go through,
or the best to try it yet.
I mean, well, at this
honestly, like I know a lot of the Spanish names, like Pau Nascenta. He was in that race. He got top 10 at the Spartan European Championship last year, and he's fast.
You know, I'm not talking about Spanish athletes. I'm talking about.
You said, is he the best Spanish athlete?
No, you said international.
International.
So,
I mean, you can't say he's not currently. That's true.
He's in the conversation. This past race, okay, real quick, the top three, we'll talk about men's first. There's our guy Alphonse, Aitor Lizarazu.
That's probably right. Yep.
Yeah, that is probably right. You're damn right. And then Pau Nascenta was third there. Alphonse was 32.14. And then other athletes who were there was Jonathan Wynn, who was sixth at High Rocks. He finished fourth in this race, was 33.59. Tom Hogan, who's been in the Elite 15 the past 2 years, he's 34.19. Graham Holiday was 5th at High Rocks, only like 20 or 30 seconds behind Kent and Tobias. He was 34.53 with a chuckle. And Marcus Frazon, who is one of the better coaches over on that end of the things, he was like 20th and 37.19. So Alphonse gave everybody that work.
Yeah. And Jesse Betts, he was in between Tom Hogan and Graham Halliday. He's had like 50 and 20 Spartan podiums in the past. So
okay,
for Alphonse to beat these guys by a minute and a half, that's pretty impressive.
Now I'm going to temper all that enthusiasm by saying I think Michaela would have taken 5th or 6th in the pro men.
she was just behind John Wynn. And DEKAFIT's not really scaled almost at all for women.
Air bike, box jumps, same exact thing.
The row, the ski, the tank is a little bit less, and the weight on the rams are less. The rams on the weight on the rams for the burpees is kind of a joke. The men should probably do heavier, and the women should probably be in that 33. But yeah, her time being 34.0 was actually really solid.
So I think it speaks as much to the quality of field as it does to his dominance.
Well, you're saying who would be better than in Europe? These are guys.
Correct. It's only the people who haven't yet.
Well, these are guys who we've seen do well in High Rocks at the world stage. Like you can be like, oh, well, how would Tobias do? It's like Tobias was only 20, 30 seconds in front of Graham at High Rocks Worlds. And John Wynn, same deal.
Yeah. You're not wrong. But until we see Tobias, Ronk, Sandy, till we see them, Tim, till we see them do one, that's always the elephant in the room. But he's given everyone work. All you can do is beat who shows up, right? And the good people take care of business. The great people take care of business, and he's handling it every time. It's like Palmerton again. Was it a kind of a nightmare of a race? Yeah, but the best people still won.
Right.
So maybe this is just that thing. He can't control who shows up, but he's taking care of business every time.
Yeah. Alphonse won by a minute too. So he wasn't even being pushed. Yeah. Like how many, actually, that's very similar to what's happened in the US so far this year. Like Kent had a runaway win in Sacramento. Ryland did to open the year in Austin. VJ did. Yep. He won by like a minute in his race. Lauren, she's won by like 3 minutes in her races. But yeah, a minute, that's kind of just what you've seen. And you know that Kent has an extra gear. You know that Ryland, VJ, get them all in the same race and they're going to improve. So
I think Ryland runs at his top gear
all the time.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah. But bottom line,
you're not wrong.
I think Alphonse has more in the tank than what we're seeing even here. And
I would imagine he was pretty geared up for this, especially because he was, what was I, 22nd, 23rd in the world for High Rocks in terms of time. He was like 20th, 21st. So he probably saw these guys lining up this race and he wanted to prove it to them. And he did. BK, give Alphonse his love. This is his time.
I will. I'll give him, if he's the Spanish Rich Ryan, how can I not give him a little amor?
He's Ricardo Ryan.
That's Italian.
I'm not sure. And his time is, so Jack, tell us about the times on this course a little bit.
So I did a breakdown afterwards. I looked at every single person and there were like 20 or 25 athletes who had previously run a DEKAFIT over in Europe before, which is kind of good. They've had them in Spain in the past and they're going to have a UK roadshow later on and stuff. But anyway, I looked at the difference and the men's times. This is a 3-lap course, by the way. So I think we can actually finally have an answer to how much slower a 3-lap versus a 2-lap course is, because it was very universal across the board. On the men's side, you had an average difference of 2.3% slower, and on the women's side, 4.5% slower. And if you apply those percentages to the times that they actually ran this past weekend, that gives you like an adjusted finishing time, in my opinion. So I think that Alphonse, he officially ran a 32:16. I think it was really closer to like a 31:30, 31:29 roughly. And that kind of lines up with, what's that? Or no, Nick Riker's faster than that at this point, but that's still enough to get in the top 12 last year.
That's around right now where Grady Jackson and Joe Cotto are right at 8th and 9th of those times.
Yep. And then Hogan, Jonathan Wynn, Graham Holiday, they're all in like the low to mid 33s, which yes, that's slow for athletes of their caliber, honestly. But we have seen some like I know that Cole Schwartz has run in the 31 highs before, and then he ran a 33 something this year. So like, I think with experience and, this is their first time doing a DEKAFIT, they might actually be faster. If you apply it to the women's race, Viola, she ran a 34-37 last time. And if you apply that 4.5% reduction factor for the women, it would have been a 34-40, which is basically apples to apples right there. It's like just what she ran, earlier this year. However, when you apply that to Michaela's time, 34:07, it's a 32:34. So she could win world championship in this event. 32:34, that's faster than Tara and her record, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think Tara's 32:20 high. Let me double check.
No, she's not that.
It was pretty from the beginning.
It was pretty
Michaela might be better at this than Hyrox.
Yeah.
I would not have said that just because I don't know what her high end 32:44. Sorry, Jack. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, she's potentially as good as anyone we've ever seen in this event.
Because we don't know what her high end running ability is, and that's really what Deka can showcase a little bit more than Hyrox for sure, is getting in above your threshold and how long you can hold a fast paced for. And I'd imagine that's what happened to these dudes. I mean, Tom Hogan, I reached out to him for a second to just be like, ask him how it went, and he said the things that you would expect. Oh, it stung, wasn't ready for the pace. And I also asked him about the tank because it's not Torque brand. And he said it took him like 3 minutes to do the tank.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And here it's probably like 210, 220.
Yeah. Usually if you're in like the 2 teens, you're doing pretty well in the US. Is that because of shipment where Torque might be a US brand and it's just
maybe
hard? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I know Concept 2 is a universal worldwide brand, but
how delightful is it to see a reverse Spanish sled issue?
I know they're going to this gives me hope.
Literally in Spain. So
in Spain, this gives me hope that the sleds for Hyrox will remain fast because this is how the universe is balancing things, is that they're getting the slower Torque tanks.
You guys didn't make the top 12. You can't go, or top 20 now. You can't come over. We know you lost a minute on the sleds, but hey.
Top 20.
So funny.
That's what you get.
There's no such thing as a difference in course. You couldn't set it up to possibly be slower.
Nope.
It's word from the top.
2 laps and 3 laps, same.
Oh yeah.
Torque tanks.
Sleds are never different. They're sleds.
Sleds are sleds.
Yeah.
You think gravity changes?
No.
Friction's friction.
Exactly.
It should be lighter. They're using the metric system.
But that course was definitely slower. Like that's one thing with these times. It was absolutely slower. And I would imagine guys like John Wynn and Graham Holiday, they weren't prepared for that feeling. I don't really know what either their backgrounds are. I don't know if they were racers on the track. And I think that to understand what this is going to feel like, you need to have some experience running like a mile, a 5K, a 10K, or at least have gone into that space in some
or even like stadiums or something.
Exactly. Yes, I agree.
There's not a lot of OCR people in their sphere.
Not really, no.
Your first time off the bike, they could have been like, oh, it's only 25 calories. I'm going to do this in 40 seconds. And then like you're bleeding so much time the rest of the race. They probably bled time like
crazy, yeah.
And then you get to a slow sled and it's like, good luck, guys.
I did my when I got Wallaced a week and a half earlier, I had done my time trial alone. And it was different bike, different skier. But other than that, it was all the same. And I went heavy on the dead ball and the rams, and I lost 1:12 combined between dead ball and ram after Wallace cracked me. 1:12. And it just goes to show that in this style of thing, once you crack, we almost can't even look at your finish time anymore. 1:12 is absurd to lose in 2 stations, but once you can't move anymore, you can't move.
Yeah. I would imagine if these guys had another crack at it, they'd probably take off 45 seconds to a minute just by pacing it appropriately. As I would imagine they went out hot. They're like, oh, this is going to be, but they probably should go out the same way they go out for Hyrox and then just sustain or pick it up and go.
So I talked with Yancey, and his measurement system that he uses to get it down to a T, same implementation for a 3-lap system. The difference is you have 40 more turns.
Way more turns.
Every single lap is 4 turns. You do it 10 times. Suddenly you have 40 turns. So on average, my guess is it was about 50 to 60 seconds for if you're running sub 35 minutes, you're probably in that 50 to 60 seconds range. So I think every single turn slows you down on average about 1 to 1.2 seconds. So I would, if we're looking for like a number in the future to use, same deal with high rocks. Like if you have a 4-lap course versus a 3-lap versus a 2, I think that 1 low second per turn is a good measurement.
That's interesting.
Well, if you look at the track world, indoor to outdoor track, going from 200 meter to 400 meters, the general consensus is that the slower turns of indoor completely balance out bad wind and weather of outdoor. And it's almost a wash for distance events, mile through 5K. So think of how much wind and heat and humidity can affect you outside. And that's how much the turn difference between a 200 meter and a 400 meter track affects you. It's like running into a headwind. It's that much difference. Now we're talking about the difference between a 200 and a 400 meter track, but both are indoor. So you're basically adding wind to one of those races. And like, what would that do to my time if I had to run a windy race versus a non-windy? That's really what's happening here. Like it is significant. I'm sure people are like, oh, we're talking about turns. Who cares? Well, the stopwatch cares. It does really matter. So I guess to the Spanish athletes, just to raise our standing in Europe, we hear you. Your course was slow. We've never really said that out loud before, but you had a bad course and we feel for you.
This is good for our brand.
Yeah.
To be like, hey,
but too bad
we
you can't make world champs, right?
But we're not going to change shit.
Nah, you got to run fast. There's no exceptions.
Right. So
no such thing as a different course.
We're sorry you only get one shot at it and your shot has a terrible course. It will shoulder shrug emoji. Don't know what to tell you. They had one in Canada as well.
Oh yeah, you got those results?
I have the top 3. Or let's talk about the women's side first, because this is interesting. We touched on Michaela Quick. She was 34:07. Jet the Bauer system pace upgraded DEKAFIT turn reduction gave her a 33:20.
No, 32:34.
My bad, dog. 32.
Yeah. That's why I said she's a little bit faster than Tara's record, in my opinion.
This is an objective obstacle-based system.
Yeah.
From Bauer, right?
The word objective is right there in the acronym.
Yeah. So this is all facts. Jack, you gotta speak.
Oh, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, everybody, it's teaser. We got Jack's facts later.
Yep.
But Michaela's 34:07, which is a good time no matter what. Viola Oberlander was second, 36:19, and Jezebel Kremer was 37:02. Rebecca Nather, who was in the Elite 15, I think last year, in 2022, was 38:23, and then Miriam Van Roer was 39:03.
Yep. So last year, Bethany McChesney for oh, sorry, I skipped to Canada, but I should have.
You didn't listen to a word. You didn't listen to a word.
I did. You ended with Viola right there, and I had something on Bethany that I was going to mention. But
another teaser. Jack's just teasers. This man is a professional. But we saw some good names. These are 4 or 5 Elite 15 racers out here, and Michaela is just going to be a problem. I hope she comes over, but the DEKAFIT is the same weekend as the Sweden,
and that's
major.
Her nationality, right?
I believe she lives in Stockholm.
Yeah.
So come on over to Dallas. You ever had barbecue? It's great.
No, it's not.
You don't like barbecue? You're out on barbecue.
I lived in Texas for 5 years. I didn't like barbecue then. I'm not going to like it now.
BK.
Wow.
What's your thoughts on barbecue?
It's the Lord's gift to man.
No, dude.
Oh.
Just a man eating meat with your hands.
Yeah, I enjoy meat, and barbecue enhances the flavor of meat. So now, I mean, I could see you arguing the merits of dry rub versus a sauce of some point, sure, but just to like X out barbecue as a whole, this is
like barbecue chicken. It could be that. Just
barbecue chicken's okay, but
where do you
like
draw the line?
Brisket, nah. I'm not
really.
Well, that's
a brisket guy.
That's like saying I won't eat chicken because the chicken feet are gross. You can't just choose one part. Brisket isn't barbecue as a whole.
I know that. It's often served at barbecue establishments. That's what I'm getting at.
Jack just didn't like Texas. Anything that's Texas related, he's out on.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's hot.
BK's pro anti-Texas.
Pro anti.
I'm not pro anti-Texas, but I get it if you didn't like living there. I couldn't live in Texas. It has delightful people, but I couldn't live in Texas.
Yeah.
It'd be hard. It would certainly be hard. This time of year would be no good.
But
I'm going to ask you guys, since we're talking about eating meat, I'm going to ask you a controversial question. How do you cook your steak?
I don't cook steak.
How do you order
my
your
steak?
Yes.
Medium rare to rare.
Medium rare.
A medium well. You guys are going to bash me for some reason.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, okay.
I understand why you don't like barbecue. Yeah.
However you want to enjoy your food, enjoy it.
Yeah.
I just can't have you take out all of barbecue because you're not a brisket fan.
Just don't go to a steakhouse if you're going to order it like that. Just get a burger. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've turned into a pan fryer for steak rather than grill.
Like searing it?
Yeah. That works.
I gotta up my steak. Whenever I've tried to make steak, I always like freak out, have a hard time. I got like a nice piece of meat and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So women's side, good names. I hope that I don't know if anybody is going to come over to DEKA.
Jezebel as well. She's in France for High Rock Stockholm. It's a much easier trip that way.
I can't imagine anybody coming over. Because I mean, yeah, this puts Michaela in the top, well into the top 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Viola's been in the top 5. Yeah, she'll get bumped down a little bit.
Maybe someone will run High Rocks on Saturday, get a nice flight, deal with the time zone change, and show up for DEKA Strong on Sunday.
The Roglaski.
Maybe Chris will go over there just to do it.
Yeah.
I think she
probably.
Will. She has not.
Yeah.
I was going to say
she's from Texas, so I feel like it's reasonable to want to go back there.
She probably likes barbecue, but she has not run a DEKA.
She's not from Texas.
She grew up in San Antonio and then moved to Houston later.
I thought she moved to Texas later.
She spent time in New Mexico at one point also, but I thought that her like formative years were in Texas.
I was wrong. I thought it was like Utah or something, then Texas.
I know New Mexico was in there at some point.
Well, I recant.
Compelling.
And her parents live in Thailand right now or are staying there currently. So that's why she went there a couple months ago.
She needs to get a DEKAFIT in, but because we have PA left, Florida left, and there's 2 road shows now. You see St. Louis, BK? There's a St. Louis now.
St. Louis?
Yep, the week after Fort Wayne.
What's that? What's that date? I'm gonna pull out a little calendar here.
The 9th, the 2nd and the 9th, I think.
Of what?
September.
Don't say it like it couldn't be October.
It could be any month. I just said 2 numbers.
That's true. Well, he said you got to get a qualifier for World, so by
I don't know all your rules. I don't trust Zendesk anymore.
Yeah.
How close is St. Louis to you?
Say 8.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we know how well driving 25 hours before and after a race is for you.
The Midwest. Goodness. But it's at First Forms HQ, so we could get some influencer types out there. That'd be cool.
I'm way off. 6.
Nice. That's easy. That's light work for you. You just drove to Pennsylvania.
When are you going to try to get your mark, Bracken?
I don't know. I don't like putting a label on things anymore.
It's a free spirit.
I announce things. I show up. I get destroyed.
You get in your car.
Can you not make finals in DEKA? Is that a thing?
No.
If you don't make top 20, you won't make the championship.
No, I mean like on the day of. Is there a chance I go there and don't even get to compete?
Bracken, if you're competing, I'm putting you in the top 10. Don't worry. You're an Heat 1.
What if I don't want to be? What if I want to win? What if I want to Ryan Kent, Rich Ryan?
Yeah, right. Ducking.
Is he bailing?
He'll try. He's always
trying to add more.
He always will. But this women's list is looking a little bit more international than I thought there with Jezebel, Viola, and Petra. And now Michaela, we have 5 of the top 10 are international. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we're not going to see him at Worlds, especially the payday. I don't know what the payday is. I think it's the same as last year.
At best, it's the same as last year.
At best, it's the same as last year, where that European Championship or the European Major in Stockholm, Nordic Major, whatever they're calling it, You could get 5th and end up with more. You can get 7th and end up with more than like a win, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But,
Well, in High Rock seems like they're taking a little better care of their athletes. These European people are going to get kickbacks, are going to get some race stipend. They're getting
swag.
Things like that. And that just helps the decision even more. You're going to pay your own way to DEKA. They're not going to put you up.
Right.
You're not going to win as much.
For sure. They shouldn't come. They should come. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't come.
If you're from Stockholm, don't come to DEKA World Championship when there's a race in Stockholm that same day that pays more. Like,
There might be domestic athletes who go to Stockholm to try to get that instead of DEKA, for real.
If I get one swing at it this year, should I do a mile or a full?
I would like to see what you did in a full.
Yeah.
You think full is better?
Mile, there's too much variability. You've seen people like VJ didn't even break 20, I think, in his, like, he wasn't feeling great that day, but a lot can go wrong. A fit, you kind of know where you're at.
What about for Worlds? What's more open?
Rich, you're the champ. You take it.
In between the two, I mean,
you're going to do better in mile at Worlds, realistically, unless you're in sub 32 shape.
It's a better time frame for you. It's closer to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
7 minutes is a bit generous.
But you get I don't know, like, the running isn't incredibly fast. It's fast, but it's not like you're not running 5-minute miles, right? So there's more time to recover in between. What do you think your strength is right now? Compromise running or compromise stations?
Compromise running. Always and forever.
Then probably fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see it.
Getting heat
First
2.
form.
Some people will blow up in heat 1. You're going to do fine. I'm banking on getting into top 20 for DEKAFIT because I don't think I'm going to be able to race necessarily before Orlando, or at least getting fit enough to run fast for that. So if it happens, join me in heat 2 if I last.
Happily.
Okay.
Let's talk about
shirts.
Let's talk about Canada.
Yep.
All right, Jackie, you have something that's burning to say. Well, first for the results, Bethany McChesney took the top spot, 37-17. Katie Simonson was 38-14, and Sarah Follett was 38-58 for the dudes. Jesse Bruce, 32-34, familiar name there. Josh Gonzalez, who's been all over the world competing in these DEKAFIT events, he was second, 33-20. And then Paul Fitzpatrick, who I believe is a Michigan guy, was 34-14 for the podium spots.
Yep.
All right,
so
Jack, what do you got?
Unlike in Europe, where you saw a lot of slower times, Bethany's old mark was 39:02, and now she's 37:17. She was a minute 45 faster. Yes, that probably has to do with being improved fitness and having some experience. Do you think that those times kind of line up? Because you mentioned Josh Gonzalez. He's already raced. What was his finishing time again?
33:20.
33:20. Okay. So this year, Josh Gonzalez, 32:25. So he was about 55 seconds slower. He has raced a ton, travel it didn't have as good competition as you might have seen in some of the other ones. I think he podiumed in Knoxville with Riker and
he won Puerto Rico without
that was like
that no air conditioning.
Yeah, that was hot.
Those times were crazy.
But anyway, my guess is he's that 32:35 was fast for him. Usually he's around 33 flat or so, 33 low. I think that 33:30 or so that he ran, or 33:30, it might have been 15 to 30 seconds slow. So that means Jesse Bruce is probably closer to 32 low than 32 and a half. That's my guess.
So where does that put McChesney at?
36 mid.
So is she really a 35 and a half gal?
No. She ran 37:09.
Oh, gotcha.
Something. So now she's 36 mid, which if you remember all the live streams so far, like Teresa, she finished second in one of them and she was 37 flat or 36 high. So Bethany is in podium contention in a lot of these races.
Yeah.
Why was this course slow to you?
I didn't catch any details on what the course was. The rumor was that it was going to be an out and back run. I don't know if that's what it stayed as. Do you know?
Would you like that?
More than a 3-lap course.
For sure.
If it was 250 out and back,
straightaways,
definitely.
Yeah. That might be better than a 2-lap course.
It might be.
If you can do like a lollipop corner around that, keep your speed up, well, like right around the corner.
Even just shuttle style, down.
Yeah,
3 points of contact, back. I like that.
It'd be a push on a 2-lap.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have confirmation on what their layout was, but it was obviously a road show, so it's not going to be at a major facility like they usually have. So, but regardless, those are still some pretty impressive times. What do you guys think about Jesse's time?
I think it tracks. I wouldn't be surprised if he was under 32 for sure. So what was he was 60, he ended up around 63 in High Rocks.
Yeah.
What do you think his 5K is?
He ran a sub 240 marathon earlier this year. He's got wheels.
He did?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I was going to say 1720, but maybe it's 1620. Probably maybe he's a sub 60 guy.
Probably. I mean, we know how you guys roll. So you guys give the discount 1620. Yeah, probably 17 flat. Probably 17 flat. But he's a grinder. I'm not surprised. I bet he could have done 2 marathons at that pace.
Okay, sorry, I was wrong. 241.14 is what
not too wrong.
That's that's close.
Someone the other day asked me if you double your DEKA time, is that a predictor of High Rocks or vice versa? Can you divide by 2? Would that be like the Jack Daniels?
Double your DEKA time divided by 2?
No, double it to get High Rocks, or take High Rocks, divide by 2 and get DEKA. Would that put you in the ballpark for where you should be? Taking outside of outliers like Dylan.
Well, seemingly not. I mean, Dylan was much closer than Jonathan Wynn, who was a 56 high. Graham Holiday, same. They just ran 30.
I think if you lean on the running side, it probably is.
Did you see, Jack, I feel like you have something. So
I found a post that Jesse Bruce ran a 5K about a month and a half ago. So, or not a month and a half ago, 5 weeks ago. So if you wanted to
17:12.
Rich, what were you making fun of us for guessing?
16:20.
My real guess is 16:20.
16:18.
Wow.
Look at that. So Rich, maybe our little discount isn't necessarily wrong.
Discount.
Sometimes was it GPS?
Road race.
Okay.
Because Ryan Atkins has like a 1440 that he ran on a trail downhill.
Straight down.
So I didn't know if all Canadians are like that. But now if you
there are cones in the picture. He's on
that's pretty good.
Certified course right there. That looks
that looks good.
Yeah.
BK is the human VDOT calculator. So once you said his marathon time, he was like, boom.
Oh, hold on. On Thursday, they're having that same Twilight 5K race that Kirk just ran in Toronto, and he's going to try to go sub 16. So we're going to get our answer on Jesse Bruce. Now we have a little cheering contest.
Sub 16.
I think I'm going to head up in August to Kirk's second round.
You racing?
And I'll run the B heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be the
winner. Get a baseline.
I like it. That's why you're looking at spikes.
Are you going sub 17?
I mean, I time trialed on a cross country course sub 17 before.
I'm just asking.
Like 6 weeks ago.
Okay. You're good.
Give him some dragonflies. So
I won't spike up. I'll wear alphas.
Tough on turns.
I'm not going to be turning that fast.
I'll do a
workout in them. If I don't, then I'll probably just wear the RC Elites.
You don't think those Sinisters would be good on the track?
It's not enough shoe for me right now. I did that 8x400 in the Metaspeed Skies and felt beat up during the workout. I just haven't been running hard surface.
How many times since college have you guys worn spikes?
3, maybe?
Yeah.
Say 5 or 6.
I'm like less than 5. And 2 of them were during the beer mile. And my calves, after wearing spikes, like 10 days, I could barely walk normally.
I was very concerned about that. I wore it for the mile at OCR Stars, whatever year that was. And I thought I was going to be blown up. And I wasn't. I was surprisingly okay. And I did that mile twice. So that was 2 like the 3. And maybe for a beer mile.
Oh, yeah.
My last one was significantly more demanding of my body than all the other ones combined. I think I had kept some semblance of hard, fast speed work in, and that allowed me to run in it. But my last one, I think when Kent came out to do his mile and I rabbited him 2 days prior, I threw on spikes to do some 2s and 4s just to get a feel for what a pace would feel like. And I cramped changing out of my spikes into my cool down shoes. So I realized that life's different now.
Built different.
Can't wear those things 3 days a week anymore.
No. Just you could throw some spikes on the Saucony endorphins. Woo. That's right. Yeah.
Didn't you? Who has those made up endorphins that have the endorphin ones or two? Yeah, it's your guy. That could work on a track for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't wear alphas.
What are the other super spikes that are?
There's a ton of super spikes now.
So every company now that has a PIBA foam is now putting that in their spike.
Yeah, Asics has a really unique, funky one. Puma's dropped theirs. On just finally released their 2 versions. They have a 1500 and a 10,000. It's called the 10,000. On?
Yeah. Oh, huh.
Yeah, they just in like the last month, maybe 2 weeks, released the spikes for public consumption. Saucony's got one. Everyone's got one now. Hoka's got 2.
Hoka, the way that they're constructing their PIBA foam is really strong. Their uppers have been,
which is funny because they had the worst foam for years, and now they've got it. Apparently,
they held it out with EVA. They're like, hey, we got something here with this high stack EVA. Let's take our time, and they did. But their stuff is nice. The foam underfoot is great.
I've got a transition right here if you guys want to.
Nice.
So we're talking about 5K times.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they're going to do at the CrossFit Games when they end up running a 5K on a cross country course?
Didn't we have that conversation?
Talked about it for a second at the end of the episode last week, and we did a higher.
I thought it was in the group chat.
No, we can talk about this some more because we got some CrossFit Games to talk about. I think there's going to be a twist on that 5K. The way that they've released a lot of these out, so another workout that they released was a 40-minute AMRAP of this bike course. Yeah. So that I doubt that they're going to have a 40-minute single modality and then a 20-minute single modality of just endurance of like zone 3 stuff. But
they've done it. They used to do a 10K.
They've done it. They did a 10K loaded. That was when they had the rucksack where they're putting.
They did a trail 10K.
Well, that was in 2020 when they had it at the ranch. They did a 5K, and then they're like, "Okay,
Castro's
do
like,
it
go
again." Yeah,
not joking.
Yeah, so they have done,
which is the meanest thing you could ever do to someone.
That's me watching the cross and like learning more about the CrossFit Games now. Like the way that Castro would do that kind of stuff, it just made like legitimacy a sport. That's just the opposite.
That's the early days of Spartan right there. It's like no map. You don't know what this course is like. We're gonna have.
Why you can't have the person who owns and founds it also create the sport side. You just can't do that.
He was early on it. He wasn't like the straight founder, but he was like one of the early guys, and his ego is just so massive that
I was about to say
he makes it about him.
If your director of sport has to be on camera all the time, your sport's gonna suck.
Right. And he's also military background, so you have that like a little bit. What if you're gonna get killed? What would you do then in sport? It's like I don't know. I guess I'll run another 5K.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine doing an 800 and then being like, "Oh, just kidding. You're doing the mile." Like after 2 laps, I would be livid.
I basically did that once in college. I had a buddy who was 800-meter national champ. He was a 151 guy and had run 409 and 410 already that year. And outdoor, we had a little podunk home meet we were hosting. It was like your fundraiser kind of thing. And we had
the 752.
What?
The 752.
No. This was real. This was college.
Oh, really?
We had a bunch of we had a bunch of small schools there, and so it was just me and him were the 1 and 2 seeds in the 1500, and then there's a gap. Like there's no one else seated under 4. And he said, "So what are you thinking about doing today?" I said, "Honestly, I'll just try to PR. I'm going to run with you as long as I can." And we're friends. I ran all my workouts with him, and he said, "Okay." And he went out in 59. just to be a dick. And I did. I ran on him, and I came through at like 201.
Jeez. Would you come back in?
I ran 357 or 358 that day.
Oh, not fun. Not a fun way to do that.
So
20% drop at the end.
What's that equivalent of a mile for those?
418, 417.
16.
Okay. So yeah, 201.
16, 17.
216.
Yeah. And and most of it came in the last 300.
I bet.
Because I just fought as long as I could and then was just in molasses. But that's the closest I've come to running open 8 and then hang on. And I was so frustrated with him, but I couldn't even be mad at him.
because
I told you I was going to do this. You did this just to punish me, but we're also like friends and teammates. I don't know why you'd punish me, but if you're fast enough and good enough to do it.
Yeah.
So weird dynamic with teammates on cross country and track team, because it's still an individual sport.
Yeah.
Even though it's your team.
This was the same teammate who wanted, at one point, invited me to punch him during practice because I was questioning his pacing. I wasn't upset. I just said some comment like, listen, we need to back off the pace. And he's like, oh, you're going to hit me about it? Why don't you hit me? Do it right now. I was like, no. Let's just drop the pacing. He was just very, very fiery. My point is, everyone's got that teammate who blows up in the middle of a practice.
I love
he
that.
was him. He's also a national champ. What are you going to say?
Right. That fire is burning. Have you guys ever done the workout Helen?
Yes.
So they're gonna do that at the CrossFit Games, some variation of it. So that is 400-meter run, 21 American kettlebell swings with a 53, 35, and then 12 pull-ups.
That was one of the
3 rounds.
One of the first workouts Hunter told me to do to prep for short course OCR. Way back in the day.
Do you remember your time?
That was his go-to. No, I don't. But he said that was. We're talking like 2014, 2015. He was like this, if I'm going to do a stadium or something short and fast, I do this workout a lot.
So the time domain is usually between 6 and 8 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
for
I was
like
going to say, this is Bracken's territory right now, 7 minutes or so.
7 was like a big barrier for a long time. When someone broke 7, it was like, holy shit. So BK, you could have been that dude.
Yeah. Would it sound right to say like 9:30s? Or would that be too fast for me?
No. Like, I think that would, unless like what would fail would be your grip or your pull-ups. Do you do kipping or butterfly or?
I was doing like swinging
semi
to
kipping.
Do that. Yeah.
I think 9 would be kind of slow.
Yeah.
I want to say my first attempt was like 9:32.
I would be shocked if you were not in the 7s.
Because it's so short.
This
you can hang on.
Years ago.
Yeah. If it was your first attempt, you probably didn't know like you can and should hang on to the kettlebell the entire time and then just like deal with the pull-ups because it's all doable. And then
maybe it was 8:30. Really, I don't know. Like I said, 8 years ago, I don't remember what I did. Right. I've done Frelin more since then.
That's where you combine Fran in there?
Fran and Helen, yeah.
Frelin.
I do Frelin and Sobud Fran. Those are the two that I do more.
What's that one? What's that?
Strung out upside down. Strung out backwards upside down Fran. 12, 8, 4, 9, 15, 21.
Of thrusters and pull-ups?
Yeah. That's my go-to stadium or short course workout.
That's a little bit long.
And then I added 2 at the end.
95 pounds.
12, 8, 4, 2.
12, 8, 4, 2. Yeah.
And then I use the thruster of whatever I'm doing. So for stadiums, it was a ram or a heavy ball.
Because I mean, Fran by itself is 2 to 4 minutes, something like that. It's like not long enough of a workout that's going to translate into anything that we're doing.
Yeah.
But this could be
Helen will be nasty.
I don't know. I would love if they just did it, but maybe flipped it. So they did swings, pull-ups, and then the run and finished on that run. We'd finally get to see a run finish. Because if it's just run, it's going to be hard for anybody to separate themselves in the stations. They're all going to do it the exact same.
It's going to be the run. That's what I'm saying, because they all can swing the whole time, and they can all get. It's going to be the run is going to be the separator, which is kind of cool. Which means someone's going to sprint out and blow up then because of the run.
Right. That's why I'd love for it to be on the back. And I don't know if logistically that would make it would be hard because there's so many of them that have to kind of funnel out. They kind of run in lanes sometimes. But maybe like a wave start. I don't know. There's only one. I could
see them. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to kind of change it. Go ahead.
I could see them doing across the end zone in a row, and you just run out and run to so it's single
same start.
That's what they'd have to do
at the stadium and back. I don't know how they're going to be able to, unless it's ladder run, drop and run down back 4 times.
It might be a shuttle. They've done that type of shuttle run last year where they went up, I think, to 1,000 meters, at least 800 meters of just like shuttle running back and forth. So it might be something like that, which is like
they don't do manual treadmill and air runner.
No, they don't usually do that at the games though.
Not at the game. They've done air runner at the games. Yeah. Last year, didn't they?
What'd they do?
I don't remember. I just remember them on an air runner.
They do air runners at semis and regionals.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Maybe. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember what
Wadapalooza, I thought they had it there.
Yeah, they do things like that, but usually at the games where it's everybody's on the same playing field, they just like let them go out and run.
Yeah. I hope they don't use it.
Me too.
Yeah.
But that would be fun. That'd be fun if they did. But I'm guessing that's going to be some sort of variation where it's going to be like double kettlebell snatches, super heavy, and then muscle ups or something like that. But I like that time domain. I would love to see them run a mile. I'd almost rather see them run a mile than this 5K. This 5K is going to be like a little bit boring.
I want to see how many of them can't break 6 minutes. And then it's like.
Right. Because there could be guys that go under 5.
Like, I don't care if you can't break 20. We know you're not a good distance runner, but I want to like know what type of milers these guys are.
Yeah.
And the thing is with people that don't practice a sport, you can't possibly execute pacing. No. So a 5K might as well be a 10K or a marathon. It's going to be, some people are going to go out really hard and others are going to run really slow. And then there's going to be a sprint and a die, where at least in a mile, most people can understand about how to run out. Cause it's less than hopefully for all of them, less than 7 minutes, most less than 6 minutes.
For sure.
They know how to pace for that. So you'll see closer to their max effort. Rather than this, like the bike thing was always weird to watch. Like, are they trying on the bikes when they did that crit style racing? Like, are they trying? Are they not? You had a couple guys that could bike and all the rest just sat in a pack.
Right.
Like, what's the difference of 4 laps or 5 if they're just going to go the same pace the whole time?
Exactly.
So in that sense, yeah, let's just see a mile. I'd love to see a 400.
Oh,
we saw that 500 and that was okay.
Yeah.
That it needs to be on a track. I don't want them wandering through an alleged 500 meter.
It was not 500. No. And the runs they did last year, and I don't think that they're going to go. Apparently, there's only one offsite event, but we're thinking there's not going to be a swim. So maybe the offsite event is the cross country course, but it could be something else.
With where they're located,
they
can't run cross country unless they leave offsite.
They might do that same course that they've done where they just do loops in and out of the stadium. Like, cause there's like a mile, it's less than a mile, but so I'm guessing they're going to do 3 loops of this mile. So they come back into the stadium and then they go back out and then they kind of finish.
Are they at Alliant again?
I believe so. Yeah. Same venue that it's been.
That's the site of my 5K road PR.
Really? Where you caught that dude?
Yeah.
14 seconds and 150.
I mean, call it what you want.
Easy.
So I've competed there like 5 times. That's a cool area.
Cool. Nice. How far is it from the cross country course in Madison?
Oh, I would guess 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
I would guess. But Madison's kind of disjointed. There's a Beltline freeway around it, or highway you would call it, around it. So I'll check here. You guys do your thing. I'm going to check it out.
Let's do our thing, Jack. What are we talking about?
Yeah, well, we were talking about venues as well for Spartan Race earlier. You heard that Madison is no longer going to be the venue for the CrossFit Games next year?
I did just see something got posted like that.
Yeah. I don't think that they declared. They said they're going to name it after the CrossFit Games or once the season's over, which pretty much is either the calendar year or after this weekend. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder if they'll go international.
They should, man. I mean, what the heck? What have they been waiting for?
Yeah. Ton of talent over in Europe.
And I was way off. 18 minutes.
20.
You said 20.
That's embarrassing. I was way.
You are
wrong.
You are the VDOT calculator. You are not the Google Maps estimate. But that could be. You could be with traffic. You could have thought it was like at 5 p.m.
Right.
So
we're talking CrossFit Games traffic here.
Yes. I would imagine it's going to be heavy. I would love to go to this thing. We're going to be in the area.
We're close. And if they're leaving the country after this year, it's like, man, what are we doing? Should have gone. Kirk, reschedule your wedding.
My guess is Sweden. They actually have a government-sponsored program around CrossFit. Weather-wise, it seems like an appropriate time of the year.
You mean like state-sponsored doping? Is that what you're saying?
That is not what I'm saying. But who knows? Russia. Who knows? I thought I saw the bike course somewhere. Oh, and they're bringing back that event that they took away last year, the alpaca event.
Yeah, the sled push.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the O course.
What'd you guys think of the O course?
I thought it was dangerous.
It was damn dangerous.
I thought, We'd have OCR problems on that course. Now you put a bunch of like guys capable of running through a wall and used to doing it. And it rained a little, right?
Yeah.
Vellner took a spill that was probably 10 feet high.
And they were wearing a weight vest, right?
I
thought he like rock bottomed the ground from the top of a cargo net or something.
He did. I don't know if he was wearing a vest, but he hit the ground very hard.
Sorry.
Their crashes are so funny to watch, like aesthetically, because they're so muscle bound. They just like pop off the ground. When they crash on the bikes, you're used to watching like tour riders crash, and these people just hit the ground. They're like, bah, and they get right up and start running. Like, yeah, you got like 40 pounds of a suspension system. There's like airbags built into you. They crash way better than super lean 130-pound cyclists do. They wear it well. They were landing hard on their bikes and popping right up.
That was during the cyclocross event.
Yeah, I was so impressed. Not cyclocross, just the road cycling they're doing. The people kept wiping out on turns. Yeah. Oof, I loved it.
Some of them can cycle. I was impressed by rewatching that last year. I was like, wow, some of these, there actually is some skill here. I'd be out there. I'd be real scared.
What's the dumbest event that you can remember from the CrossFit Games? I remember they had one where they were in like a big field. I think it was when they were in California. Maybe it was the year that they only had 5 people or so, a couple years ago. And it was like do a couple legless rope climbs and then pedal your bike to the other side and come back. And it was just like a circuit of that 10 times.
That was an event that they did at regionals a couple of times where it was actually a shuttle run and a legless rope climb, but they added the bike. Yeah, that was a little silly.
It was like, what is this?
The 5K, 10K is still the dumbest event I've ever heard of.
Same year.
Anything that happened in California probably deserves its own timestamp.
The worst year was that 2019 year Hunter made it, where they just invited literally everybody and then cut aggressively. And then it got to like 10, and then it was like nobody's favorite athlete was there except like Fraser and Noah Olson, and then I think one of the Pan checks. But it was like, what are we doing? And they put like 2 running events in early, and
but not early enough.
Middle, not early enough.
Not for our guy. Yeah. Not for our guy. I don't like when they do open water anything. I think that is just boring. They did that super long paddleboard one time.
The guy would like fell asleep on it.
I was like stuff like that where there's nothing or any. Sometimes the implements are kind of fun just to see, like that thing, like the snail or the slug or whatever, where it's like this big thing you're kind of pushing as this huge wheel. Like it's kind of cool, but when it's not relatable in any way, I'm just like, I don't know how hard this is.
They did that one. It was basically like some sort of NFL combine drill, just sprinting down and zigzagging. It was fun because it was bang, 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 but it had no bearing on CrossFit whatsoever. But the one I watched always, and I enjoyed watching, but thought this is the dumbest thing to put in to a strength competition that's just going to set you back the most, was the marathon row. This in the middle of the games.
That was in the beginning.
Dumbest thing for performance I've ever, like, if you want people to get hurt, have them row a marathon. Like, you're not probably going to get rhabdo off this, but you're going to get all the greatest hits of it. And then you have to go in, like, you're using a form that you've never used for longer than, for these people, probably like 10 minutes at a time.
For sure.
You got to do it for hours. And now we're going to go max out afterwards.
They gave him a day off.
Dumbest thing ever.
That was not announced. Like they popped a marathon row on the people. And that's when it was Castro, like, prepared, unknown and unknowable. It's like,
it's truly unknown and unknowable.
Right. Who would prepare for something like that? And like,
has any box ever done that?
Not some, maybe for like charity.
Yeah.
You know, like crazy people doing it.
If you can't identify a common trait in what you're about to test with anything that's ever been related to CrossFit, like stand-up paddleboard, open water swim, even I would argue the 5K cross country course, the O course, like, why would you even have it?
They try to put in there's an element in the CrossFit Games that does test like athleticism or being able to adapt to things on the fly. And that does catch people off guard. And that's why athletes like Medeiros, who seems to be able to see something and adjust and be able to do it.
Right.
He's a bit better of an athlete. I think that's what kind of separates the games from just like your local comps, your regional levels, is like, how are you going to deal with something that you've never seen before? But
And
sometimes
I'm for that, but a marathon row, go run a 5K, psych, it's a 10K.
That was and right when that marathon row, this is going to sound strange, but the CrossFit hadn't really adopted aerobic training that much until like that point. It was like right up until like that year is when things kind of switched. But like, yeah, so getting people on and for 3.5 hours of zone 2 work, zone 2 to high end to low end zone 3, that's something people were just not ready for. But then you could
see people not able to row well still at that time. There were some people that weren't great rowers. And they were cramping their back.
I just worry about your hands, man. That would suck so bad.
Most of them were wearing gloves.
Oh yeah, you would have to. I'd probably have to switching gloves, taking some on and off. How many receiver gloves do you think you'd need to wear for a marathon row?
1.
I'm
light on the gloves.
The pruning, and then like you got to do heavy barbell work later. Like that's rough.
There were people who didn't choose to stack up on nutrition early.
Right. That's a whole different thing. Like if you're not consistently testing your nutrition through training, it's kind of hard to grasp. Even if I'm not that super in touch with it, because my events are like an hour. So I'm not always doing that. And I'm an endurance athlete. I can imagine these CrossFit athletes are not doing that in training at all.
There were some people that wore Camelbacks right from the start.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, those people right there are going to do way, way, way better. And other people got after it for a while. And then you saw like that moment where they're like, oh, this is what it's going to be. And then they go into scramble mode. But the meanest and best part of that thing is that they put everyone's up on the big screens. And so you had people competing from the start and seeing what everyone else is doing, and made it awesome, but it made it brutal for people.
I thought 225 ended up winning. Right around there for the guys.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
That seems too fast.
It was Khalipa. I remember it was Khalipa for sure.
No, it wasn't. It was some guy whose name started with
236.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Khalipa may have won that one because they split it. It was like a 1K for time. Your first 1K was its own event, and then it was a marathon row.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. It was 243. Sorry, 243. The guy's last name started with an E. It was Lucas Esslinger.
Okay.
243.50.
That's still really good.
I know.
Was it Thor's daughter who just crumbled terribly on that one, and she just like sitting and then laying down and
probably
stayed on it the whole time? And because there were a bunch of DNFs, right?
I don't know. That would have been a DNS. Like, we're good here.
Keep your points. I'm lifting tomorrow.
Well, that's going down this weekend. That'll be fun. We'll be in and out while we're celebrating in between champagne toasts.
Without knowing events, how many do you think you'd be able to win?
Definitely the 5K. I love when they have just 5K runs. Yeah.
I was gonna say there's always one.
There's always one where I'm like, these guys suck. The
course, bring it on.
I used to say any endurance event, but after watching the road biking, I don't know if I would have won that.
I would not win the biking event. No.
They biked at a high enough level that I wouldn't have been able to drop them, and they sprinted at a high enough level that I don't think I could have matched their wattage at the end. I remember thinking, okay, this is legit.
Yeah, you get them on implements and add a little bit of skill. Like even if they're practicing 5 times a year, right? It's more than I'm practicing that.
Yeah, 5K cross country.
Yeah,
no alphas needed.
It might be loaded, but alphas on the grass. I mean, hey, you talked about track, right? Our trail alpha. What's the dude's name that wins the race Kirk does every year? Wears alphas?
Oh, yeah, Tyler Germain. No, he wears vapors.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, alphas would be a little bit more extreme.
We talked about this from the other side, but if all 3 of us were in the field, Jack, you're healthy for this.
Yep.
For a 5K loaded cross country race, how much weight would they have to add until you couldn't win?
Okay, for us,
and I don't get loaded.
No. You get loaded. CrossFitters don't.
No. Everyone's loaded.
Everyone's loaded.
Everyone's loaded. How heavy would it have to get before you wouldn't win
in the CrossFit games?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
So I was going to say probably I could win with 70, 80 on me. I'd feel confident with that against them still. You can't run. You could, but I'm shuffling faster than them.
As heavy as it is until I can't pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 150-pound sandbag. No, thanks. Wouldn't even, I don't think I could complete a 5K.
That it might be something like that.
My guess was 90 or 100. I wouldn't want to pick up and support after a while, but
100 for a 5K would be like,
if you have
really,
a nice,
really
like one of those TMX style bags, just put it on your shoulder. I'm not dropping that for a mile, shake out my shoulders a little bit. Dude, I'm not worried
about the first mile.
Yeah.
100 might be a problem. They might get me at that, like where they're not having to run fast at all. And they're just like,
just they can keep one shuffle jog and never put it down.
Yeah, I might be reduced to very little.
It's whatever would require me to lift it up like 15 or 20 times throughout the race.
Yeah.
Okay. If it was unloaded for them and loaded for you, where's the tipping point?
50?
Okay, I was going to say 40.
30
somewhere
to 40.
between 30 and 40.
Rich is a better runner, so that makes sense. Yeah.
50 might be a lot, but still.
40 is going to be tough. I think breaking 19 with a 40-pound vest might be an ask.
Okay. Are any of them breaking 19 this weekend? If it's a 5K cross country course,
I think a couple will run in like the 1840s to 50s.
What's 19? VDOT?
6 flat is 1836. So 6:10 pace. I think if they're breaking 19, they're like 6:08 or faster.
I don't think they can run 6 flat back to back to back on a cross country course.
I don't think so either.
All right, yeah.
That's just such good running.
It's good running.
It's not great by runners, but that's like you look at high school. How long did it take you to break 19?
Jack,
Rich probably right
junior
away.
Junior year.
Yeah, check this question for
2003 after my sophomore year. So,
yeah. I mean, I trained a little bit that summer and I ran 19. I opened up with 1936, and it took me 3 or 4 races to get under.
You could be on a lot of. You could be on a lot of top 5s if you're running an 18 flat, right? Or 19.
I was 1806 my
18.
fastest as a junior, and then 1647 as a senior. So,
what number were you on your team as a junior?
Ben, Corey, Chris, Trevor, 5.
Shouts to those guys.
1806.
5. The 5th guy's important, man.
Ben, Corey, Chris, Trevor.
Yep.
A squad.
Damn right.
Central repping.
And Chris was a 7,000 point decathlete in college, so good distance runner and freak athlete.
If anyone breaks 20, I'm impressed with them.
Yes. Right. That's the thing. It's like by runner standards, it's not amazing. But for these guys, like if anyone's under 7 minutes for the full 5K,
it's cross country.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah. And it's on grass.
If it's cross country.
I would imagine it's going to be on grass or gravel or something.
It'll be freshly mowed, but if you're on grass versus a hard, smoother surface, you're automatically slower. Like 10 plus seconds a mile, I'd say.
Like a cross-country course at a course like Wisconsin or like Penn State, where it's like a golf course.
Yeah.
That's not that much different. It's slower, but it's not like you're
it's a golf. It's adjacent to a golf course. It's not a golf course.
But it's not like a trail.
Almost. It's not a trail.
This isn't going to your local park.
Flat.
Yeah. Right. There's going to be some ups and downs, which is hard, I'm going to
pull that up. You guys do your thing. I'm going to find the actual course.
Let's do our thing, Jack.
Yeah, try to find the total elevation at that point. Yeah, because I'm just thinking if this isn't going to be anything like the opener to a smooth, fast Spartan race, because that's just on unmowed grass at that point. Like that's going to slow you down even more. If it is trimmed a little bit, it's not going to make as big a difference. But I still think because it's cross country, it's going to have ups and downs. They're not good downhill runners realistically, so I don't think they're going to make up for that difference right there. There isn't going to be like a major hill, but
I'm looking at the women's 6K.
There's going to be a wrinkle. They're going to be loaded, or there's going to be something in the middle. I just can't see them being a 40-minute bike and then like a 20-minute run.
But maybe they're doing something different where it's just all aerobic stuff early on and then just strength for the rest. They're making cuts.
There's cuts. You can't do that. I mean, if you can, but it's stupid. If you're going to cut people for
they've done stupider.
They have, but they should not do those things. And nobody likes the cuts. I don't understand the cut situation.
I know. Let everybody compete. That's like Bracken's like, oh, I'm going to pull you off the course. You're the last off the ski erg and high rocks. It's like, well, they don't necessarily lose the race.
Right.
So
Someone
gotta
made,
allow everyone a chance.
I heard a comparison being like, oh, if you was like the 100 meters, there's heats for that. And it's like, well, yeah, but you definitely know if you are like 10th in a heat, you're probably not going to win. But
You're all
because it's
doing the
one
same
event,
test every
right?
single time.
And you get to finish that test
Yes.
every single time.
Yeah.
So the heat argument's
It's like
silly.
It's like the decathlon. If they're like, oh yeah, you know what? End of day one, you really were bad at the 100, so you can't run tomorrow.
Right. It's like nasty at the 15. It's like, sorry, can't run it.
Bad.
That's a great. That's the appropriate example is like if you made cuts in a decathlon.
Yeah, because there are 10 events there. There are 10 to 15 in the CrossFit Games. Like, give everyone a chance. You're trying to test versatility all the way around. Some people's strength might be javelin in the 15K or whatever the last two in day two are. But
did you guys see Ricky Garrard going to show out for High Rocks Australia?
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see this? Yeah, he and this is interesting. So Ricky Garrard was. We'll come back, Bracken. I know you're doing some recon for us.
He got hurt on a bike.
We appreciate.
Speaking of bikes,
he got. I mean, what are you doing, man? You have a chance to win the CrossFit Games. Just like don't mountain bike for a little bit.
Yeah,
like not
just
your whole
wheels.
life.
All
Just
I'm going to say is wheels are dangerous if you're a hybrid athlete.
We know that. Like, and not even if you're that far off the ground, even if you're just like a couple inches off the ground on wheels, dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ruptured his AC joint in his shoulder, so he needed a little bit of a surgery that was going to put him out for 4 to 6 months. So I don't know what his fitness is going to be like, but he's going to do one of the High Rocks in Australia, is what they're saying. Him and James Newbury as well, who is top 10.
You know, Chris Woolley's licking his chops.
Dude, Chris is going to give him that
your
business.
chance.
Yeah, you gotta. What do you think? And there's been some people saying, or Ricky has said his 5K PR is 17:23. Right.
It's a CrossFit PR.
It's right. Like maybe and maybe he like ran a mile in like, I don't know, 5:10 or 5:05, or maybe he got under.
Yeah.
And maybe he's just like, yeah, I could probably do 5:30s, but like no chance, right? Like it just doesn't. That just doesn't.
I like CrossFitters are used to being compromised, but they're compromised running. Whenever you see them, that is like arms up high, just waddling around. They are not fast doing that. Just what I've seen, I will 100% give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be as good as anybody on the zones. He'll go unbroken on the 100. He'll be a machine on every single, or he'll be a monster on all the machines. Like he'll probably 24 minutes for all the zones, 23 minutes even. Like wouldn't be surprised at all. And then he'll probably run 7-minute pace, 7:30.
Yeah.
Like 62. That's my guess.
62 would be, I was saying 63, and I would be really impressed with that.
And that's a first time. Also, like if he does it again, to
go 70.
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to run. If they go out and jog 6:30 pace, sure, you can break 65. But if they go out and run, they're gonna be running 8-minute pace at the end.
If he does 24 minutes for the zones, which I think is reasonable, Hunter's gone faster than that. There's no reason Ricky Garrard couldn't.
There is, because of what happens in the first 3 zones to him.
Okay, let's just
if he debuts in 62, he's going to be the world record holder in a year.
But other people have debuted faster.
Yeah, but they've trained their running and their compromised running. I just think that would be shocking if someone debuted 62 that doesn't run train or compromise run train.
I think Newbury's going to do better than him.
I think Newbury will beat him as well,
because he's done really well in cardio running. Like he's always top 5 whenever there's a like longer than 10-minute high endurance type of.
But it's still gonna be the running. Like I know he's done some Ironman.
Yeah,
he's done some triathlon stuff, which is still like a lot of station zone.
Do you know that he was going to come to the first ever DEKAFIT in Denver before it got canceled for COVID?
At Kmart?
Not at Kmart. At the Broncos place.
You can't claim first ever if you're not Kmart.
If you're not at the Kmart. Jack, you were there. You're on site.
I used to be the record holder.
Of course.
Originally.
We know it.
Yeah.
BK, you can't take that away from you. No, I can't find it. Okay. No. It's got to be on Strava, but I can't find it.
Oh, you're trying to that's true. Yeah, I was looking around and I don't know.
Yeah, F for effort. Good job.
Not sure.
No one knows.
So yeah, that was something that happened. Jack, you got your power rankings in order?
I'm doing that today. I had such a long day at work yesterday. I didn't have a chance to finish them, but we'll talk about them when they come out sometime next week.
Goodness.
I do have our weekly thing that I forgot last week though. If you want,
let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
So I got an idea. You gotta enable sharing.
Let's do we need the visuals? If we're gonna share this on social, it's gonna be hard with the big.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
That's fine. I have a picture already made.
Okay, let's pull it up.
Okay.
All right, you're good.
Yeah, I got an
this is 2 weeks worth. It's 2 weeks worth of research.
I got a recommendation on the name Race Brain Teaser, because it's a brain teaser and it's race brain.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think that Scott was the one who came up with it. So thank you, Scott, for that. So the question this week for all the audio listeners, it's a lot, but I think you'll be able to name most of them. I know Bracken will be pretty close, but name the 8 men and 9 women who have an elite Spartan podium in both Mexico and the United States.
8 men, 9 women. Okay, hold on.
Yep. I've got it written down, so I'll check them off as soon as you do a name.
Women. Okay.
8 men, 9 women. So
Angel.
That is correct.
Do we get misses? Do we have like
Chikorita
keep going till you miss, then Bracken's going to come in. Rich, you get first. Yeah.
I want to be on a team. I don't want to be.
Okay. Yeah. Collective. Here, Rich goes 1, Bracken goes 1, and I'll count the dings.
Okay.
Chikorita de Lego.
That's not a real person, but I know who you're talking about.
It is a real person, and her alias is Alex Rudana.
Her alias? I think that's her real name. Not. Yeah.
You don't know.
Is that right or not?
That's definitely correct.
Does that count as 2?
Nope. It's 1.
All right. VJ Jones.
That's correct. He's one of 2 guys with a win in Mexico.
Miguel Guillermo Medina.
I did not expect you to get that. Congratulations.
Come on, man.
That's another one.
Oh, man.
And he is American, despite my pronunciation. Yep. But he's a medical interpreter, so he's fluent. No big deal.
We got Chris Rogloski.
2nd place last year.
Alex Walker.
3rd place last year.
I don't remember if Lindsay was down there. I think she was, right?
Is that your pick?
Nope.
She did not go to Mexico last year?
Oh, she did. She did.
Lindsay Webster.
Good pick, Rich.
Okay.
I'd be confident.
Yes.
Bracken.
We got to go back.
I'm going to, what if I get one wrong and do I get in trouble?
You're in trouble. No, this is who gets the fewest losses out of the 2 of you.
No, we're on a
going
team.
To guess
we get 3
Alex
total.
Nicholas.
Alex Nicholas is one. You're getting the hard ones. I'm impressed, Bracken.
Thank you.
Nice.
I know there was the trip that a lot of people made back then, but I didn't think you'd get that.
Come on.
Is it worth throwing Was Cassidy on the trip? Was it worth throwing her out there then too?
Is that your pick?
I'm looking. I'm phoning a friend.
I trust you.
No. That's not what I want. All right, I'll go on Cassidy.
Wrong.
Dang.
Rich has a loss. You guys are not undefeated, but Bracken is. Let's see if you can keep it going.
We're on a team.
All right.
Well, I can keep it going, but it's cheating. So I'm going to try to think of someone else here. Chris Scherf. Has he?
No.
He didn't?
Nope.
That's too bad.
I told him I was going to pick him on my team for Race Brain this year. He listens and he says he wants gear. So
I would have picked him this week.
Yeah. Oh, I was like, if you're around like round 8, 9, like
I would have picked him 7.
There you go.
Rich, you got any guesses?
Good guy.
I mean,
you should know someone that we draft commonly on the women's side. Come on, Rich.
IZZ?
Yeah.
You know me.
IZZ out there. All right, we got
Isaiah Vidal.
Isaiah is another one.
Good one. All right, we have 3 more men, 4 more women. Can we do it? We only get 2 more incorrect ones.
Yep.
That's it. We're just making
3 strikes you're out.
Do you got another one, Bracken?
Along similar lines, I'm going to say April D.
You're on a roll.
Let's go, BK. Dude, Race Brain teaser, nothing for Bracken.
Actually, was that D at the time?
I have it. All of her names converted to April D.
Okay.
Just not Hardwig, not Lou, whatever other one she's had.
What is current? Is she Hartwig right now?
I think she is.
Okay.
Bracken, back in the day, were any of the dudes going down there? Have we seen Hobie, Cody?
I'm confident on Bracken getting this next one.
You want me to just say it?
Yeah.
Spit it out.
Bracken Crocker.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah. I was like, there's one other missing one, Rich. Maybe you'll get it. Nope. Have no confidence in the man.
what race was that?
Estadio Azteca.
Who was on the podium?
Angel, myself. And I don't remember who the third on they had a bunch of their junior track developmental program 3K 1500 guys show up.
Yeah.
Gave him that work.
And whoever that one of them was on it.
Was it Luis Octavio Gomez or something?
I don't know.
He was on their team and he beat like another guy who you're missing as well. And it was like, oh, that guy's good.
Don't know.
I don't know. I would just say Batris.
Nope.
I'm out.
Bracken, any more? Close it out.
At this point, I'm blanking. No.
All right. Hunter, he has.
I said Hunter.
I didn't hear you say that. Okay. Well,
I thought that was my first guess.
Count it.
Because then right after that,
counting it. There you go.
He took Cassidy.
Okay. I thought you did Alex Nicholas, but anyway.
I did.
Yeah.
If I didn't say Hunter, I meant to say.
Gotcha. You're not going to guess the last guy. Very unlikely. He did race in Palmerton, but he finished like 28th or 30th or so. Hugo Godoy. He's done a bunch of ultra races as well. I think he podiumed at New Jersey Ultra last year in the US, and he has 2 or 3 in the US. He's pretty solid.
I never would have got him.
Yeah. On the women's side, I mentioned her earlier as one of the 2 contenders for this upcoming weekend who I think could win.
Wasn't listening.
Rich, you made fun of the pronunciation.
Berenice.
Very
nice.
Yeah. Very nice. There you go. And then the other 2, Claudia Pavia, she's also podiumed in South America as well.
I just got that.
There's a woman though that you have 1,000,000% heard of, and she raced there probably 5 years ago.
My guess, 5 years ago?
Yeah. Roughly.
I'm gonna say Amelia Boone then. But I was gonna say Jenny Tobin.
Nope. Rich, any guess?
I got nothing.
One of the big 5 or Fab 5.
Faye?
No. It's Alyssa. She went down there. Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah, we did okay. We only missed 4. That's not bad.
Exactly. This is definitely a longer question, but I was like, it's appropriate. Like
appropriate.
US and Mexico
Topical.
this week. I've got a good one next week though. It's gonna be hard.
Okay.
So, yep. Anyway, good job, guys. You got most of them.
All right. Do we have anything else? Wrap this thing up today?
Wrap it.
We had a draft. We decided not to. We're gonna be hanging out.
We're gonna all see each other this weekend.
We've got to take a race brain photo.
We'll have to do that. You think there's gonna be cornhole? BK, you nice at cornhole?
I mean, I'm an athlete.
Jack?
Yeah, used to be a pitcher. Pretty good throwing stuff.
Who's gonna be our 4th? Kirk's gonna be doing stuff.
Well, who's bringing a spouse?
Isn't Mick Girello? I thought he's coming.
Is he?
Mike Ferguson will be there. You guys don't know Mike. He's a good dude.
I know Mike. Yeah.
Oh, you guys both know Mike.
How dare you?
I've done the incline with him.
Yeah. I met him at we roomed together at West Virginia one year. Yeah. I stayed with Kirk, him, one of Kirk's buddies. Luke Bosick just crashed on the couch with us. That dude just goes to races without a place to stay. He's like, can I
Was that cabin type motel?
It was a big Airbnb. It was an old house, and it was really cool. Bechtel.
Didn't you used to put like 10 people in a 2-bedroom hotel room back in the day, Bracken, like for your trips?
No, only one time. And it wasn't 10, but we had the ego and personality of 10. It was myself, Hunter, Miguel, and David Magida, I want to say, all in one room.
I don't know how the ego fit.
And Miguel buzzed his entire body over, not his entire body, from the waist up over the toilet. Just stood over the top of it, and you just heard the buzzer going, like, and you walked in there. It's like someone had just been shearing a Yeti. And he didn't clean any. It's like whatever fell into the toilet, he flushed, and the rest just sat there.
Just left it.
It was like a gag, or was he like screwing around?
Just like
how he was
young. He was young. He was a bachelor. He wasn't.
Forgot to shave my belly today. Hope you guys don't mind.
Got to be aerodynamic for tomorrow.
It was just full of
a Yeti
of dark body hair all over the seat, all over the tank, all over the ground around it. We went to Golden Corral to eat because there was nothing around. Yeah, that was the only time I crammed people in a hotel room from what I can remember.
Okay.
That's a lot of people for 2 beds.
Big time. Big time. But we're going to play cornhole. Some bags, whatever else they got going on there. Maybe we get some hoops. Bring a ball, BK.
Bring a ball?
If we're at a park, I mean, maybe we can get some up.
You bringing shoes?
I'm standing enough to stand in the corner.
Bring like horseshoes or something where people who don't need to run can participate.
I'm not playing basketball in horseshoes.
That sounds absurd.
Yeah.
Still dunks though, even with them horseshoes on.
I haven't put one down yet this year.
I did on January 3rd this year, and my streak officially ended, despite being because I didn't get one last year, but I didn't have a hoop to do it on in New Hampshire over Christmas, and then I flew to Atlanta at the start of the year, and literally day one, I found a basketball court and did it, and I was like, it's killing me.
They don't have basketball hoops in New Hampshire?
They do, but it was snowing and not at the gym that I was going to.
Peach baskets up there.
If you're in that city, you got to know one person with a key to a local gym. Otherwise, it's not your home.
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm to the point now where I need a day or two before I can do it. It used to be I'll just get to a gym. Now I need 3 days. I need first day to start easing into it. Day 2 to get the
that
bad
landing
jumps
down. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting old.
Just turned August, man. So the year's moving through.
My goal is to still do it this year, even if I was 2 days late last year.
Do you have your mile this year?
No, but that's why I'm putting rehab or doing it really hard.
Anyway, I'll see you boys this week. What, 3 days?
Soon.
Yeah, Friday.
Jack, what are you doing? Where are you staying?
Talk about that.
All right, well, let's end this so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.
Adios.